just gonna, oh, cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
nice.
We just forgot to start the recording.
Okay, sounds good. Well, yeah, I don't think I said anything really important so far, but yeah, so I just put the link in the chat, and it's view only right now. So if you want to duplicate it, you can like sort of follow along, or you can kind of just watch me. So basically what we're gonna do today, okay, I'm gonna go back to this later, but what we're gonna do today is we're kind of gonna go through making like a basic prototype of like how to make things like, scroll, and how to do like just really basic interactions, like, having that keyboard come up, and then like how to like present your mockups at the end. And then through that, we'll kind of go through some of the basics of Figma. So if you want, like, let me know in the chat if you're not shy, like what are your skill levels, and how comfortable you are with Figma, what type of project you're working on, even if it's like, if you're doing like a mobile app, or if it's like a web app. If you're a designer, if you're developing, you just want to learn Figma, I'm just curious, or if not, that's cool too. But yeah, or if you have any issues with anything that I'm saying. But yeah, like I mentioned, just duplicate the file. So first, I'm just gonna do an intro. So hi, my name's Christina. Yeah, right now I'm a UX design intern at Cisco, where I work on cybersecurity software. I used to be a design technologist intern at RBC, which is like the largest bank in Canada, where I did both design and code. That was pretty fun. And then I also designed for some startups and organizations, and I'm going into my third year at OCAD University in Canada. And my program is called Digital Futures, so it's kind of like art and code-ish, and I really like going to hackathons, so glad to meet you guys here in concerts as well. But yeah, so okay, the goal of today is that we're going to learn the basics of Figma through a tutorial, and we're also going to go through some tips to save time when you're designing, because when you're at a hackathon, you want to save time, and then also some like extra nice things and resources for presenting designs. So we're going to go through how does Figma work, UI kits, components, and styles, creating click-through prototypes like the one I just showed you, and then getting like pretty mockups. Okay, so like the things that I go through, I like linked all of them already here. Like we're gonna do iOS, but if you're doing something Android or some web related ones, there's some UI kits here and like other resources, so you can always like go back and reference that if there's anything that I'm like talking about. But yeah, okay, so first, I'm just gonna assume that like there's no prior knowledge of Figma at all, so I'm just kind of gonna do like a sort of tour of like the whole interface of Figma. So I'm using the desktop app right now, but I mean, it's pretty similar to the browser. I don't think there's any huge differences, but if you wanted to use the app, you could just download it from the Figma website, I think. Okay, so here is the pages. So if you weren't aware, like you can have like different pages in Figma. And so, okay, this page is like a page of some like resources that I copied, because, yeah, you can copy some resources and then save lots of time. So I put that on a different page. But this is my main page. Assets, okay, we're not really going to use these, but I mean, this is more useful if you're like working in a company with a huge design system. You can use their assets. Actually, yeah, I probably won't really talk about that. But these are some of the tools. I think I'll start going through these as we start designing. But really quickly, like this is just the main like setting that I will, the move setting that I will go on. Like I'm using a trackpad, which is why you don't see me using the pan function. But if you're like, I don't know, like not using a trackpad, then to get around, you will need to use pan. You can also press spacebar, and that would do the same thing. Frames, if anyone's more familiar with like Adobe products, like frames are kind of like artboards, but basically everything, like all your screens in Figma, they're always in frames. Like for example, like we're just up here in prototype, watching the prototype, everything in a prototype is always in a frame. Like you can't have like for example, if I just made like a rectangle here, like that would not show up in my prototype here, because it's not in a frame. There's lots of different shapes. I just made a rectangle really quickly right now because I pressed R. But yeah, if you ever need like different shapes. Pen tool we won't really go into because I mean that's more used for like if you want to draw logos or stuff like that. Text, you can also press this thing up here, or you can just type the letter T on your keyboard. Like I just pressed T just now, and then you can start typing. Hold on, I'm gonna minimize this video so I can see my screen. Yeah, and then also if you're, yeah, we kind of went over that, commenting. So like if you're in view only mode, then probably the only thing that you'll be able to do is commenting. So maybe if your team member, I don't know, didn't share the file with you, they could still add comments. You're just gonna, you know, say hi or whatever, and then people can like reply and stuff. Also another way to, okay, I'm gonna delete this, but another way to do that is just to press C. That's the keyboard shortcut for commenting. Okay, so now, okay, this is the title. I'm not gonna talk about that. Oh yeah, so another thing is the number of people. So like if other people are on it, like if I click Julia, and I'm now seeing whatever she's seeing in her thing. So if she starts like moving around, I will start seeing her cursor, and if she like zooms in or out, you don't have to do that. But if she did, then I would also be seeing, like, basically I'm seeing exactly what she's seeing right now. Okay, I'm gonna go back to myself. So also if you wanted to follow me, you could click on my face. That's, yeah, it's probably an important thing to say. Also to get to this mode up here, the zoom thing is blocking it. But okay, like the thing before where we were seeing the prototype, you can click this present mode and that will bring you up here. And then the design panel, I mean, yeah, I think, okay, I'll go over that when we start designing, and then also the prototype and inspect. I mean, okay, I guess I can talk a little bit about inspect. So like inspecting, if you're going to, like, I don't know if, okay, I guess this is not CSS, this is iOS, right? So you can like kind of get more information on like the code and specs and stuff. Another way, like if you want to see all these numbers while you're in the design tab, like if you don't want to click there, you can actually hold Option if you're on Mac and Alt on your PC, and then just, oh, if you're on view only mode, you might already be on this setting. But if you're not, you can hold Option or on Mac and Alt on PC, and then you will also get all these numbers, which is, I don't know, it's more useful if you like things to be pixel perfect. Okay, so now we're gonna actually start with the with designing this. So normally to start like getting the frame, you could either, like I mentioned, click up here and press frame, or I just like to press the keyboard shortcut, which is F. And now you see it brought up this thing here. So I'm gonna use the iPhone X one. And as you can see, it made this thing. So I like to start off with, so I'm designing like iOS, right? So I like to start off with just, you know, putting in the native, saving time, the native things that I need for the iOS design. And I copied, okay, wait. So this guy named Joey Banks made a bunch of iOS UI kits and stuff. I linked it in the resources, but anyways, so I would usually start off by, okay, well, I know I need a keyboard. So I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna put it up here. I'm gonna copy everything that I need, and then I'll show you. By the way, I'm just making sure that this ends at 8 p.m., right? Or sorry, not 8 p.m. It's 8 p.m. my time, 5 p.m. in,
Yep.
5 p.m. Pacific, right?
Yes.
Okay,
That's correct.
sounds good. Yeah, so these are already like this person already made components, which I'll explain what they are later. But okay, actually I can explain what they are right now. So you see how like these are all in like a purple box? That means that they're like components. And so when I'm copying things from them, they're also purple and they're attached to here. So like if there's any change in here, like let's say I didn't want this to say search, I wanted this to say hi, then these would also say hi. But like I'm not going to do that. And this makes changing things a lot faster because then you don't have to, you know, change each individual one. You can just edit the main component. Okay, really quickly, how to make a component. You literally just, if you wanted to make something a component, you right click and you create a component, or there's a button up here. Okay, I honestly can't see it because the zoom thing is blocking it, but it looks like it looks like a diamond up here, and you would just click that, and that would also make it a component. So, okay, what else did I need for, I'm gonna take a navigation bar. And I think that's all I'm gonna use for today's design, but I mean, I can always go back. And so I just copied that just now. I'm gonna paste it here. And so one thing, okay, you want this to be in the top, right? But sometimes you don't want to move it. So you can just click this to center it, and then this to put it at the very top. And I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm going to center it. And then if you hold shift and the arrow key, it'll move faster than just holding the arrow key. So if you, I don't remember how many, 8. Okay. The number doesn't really matter. I just like numbers. Okay. So, and then we're going to make the bottom bar here. So you know how I just mentioned that like everything is like attached to the main component? Well, like what happens if you don't want it to be attached? So what you can do actually is, because I don't want my bar to look like label, 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 right? So I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna say Detach Instance. And then I can, it's no longer connected to the main component. So if I made any changes in the main component, they wouldn't like come here because it's blue now. Okay, so now I'm gonna, okay, so how did I get these icons? So now I'm gonna show you my favorite way to get icons, which is through this plugin called Iconify. If you guys, okay, so I'm gonna assume that people, oh, cool, thanks for answering questions. I'm gonna assume that you guys don't know what plugins are. So if you already have the plugin installed, but if in order to explore plugins, I'm gonna search like if you want to look for icons, there's a lot of files for icons too, but there's also plugins, and you can just install ones, and then they will show up here in plugins, or you can right click and there's also plugins. So the one that I'm going to use is, yeah, I have a lot. Okay, I should clean that up. I'm gonna use the Iconify plugin. So I'm gonna search for like a home. And I'm just picking like all of like the kind of the same, like I'm using all of Ant Design. I mean, they have a lot of different types of icons, but it's more like consistent if I like pick the same, if I pick the one from the same library, right? So I'm just gonna, and then what else do I need? Profile and a list. Oh, I think it's called user. Oh, do you need a premium version of Figma? No, you don't. So yeah, all the plugins are free to use if you just go to the plugins section that, yeah, this is all free. And what was the last one? List? Okay, so now I have, does Figma even have a premium membership? It does. It's mostly like more useful for like teams because there's a limit on like the number of people that can be on an editor on a file at once. Okay, so basically these icons are really big, right? And we can't use them that big. So I'm just gonna click that button, and that button basically just makes it like stay the same, like the scale. And then I want them to be 24. So like you see, they both changed to 24. Now these are really far away, so I'm going to click this. Okay, I'm gonna do something to, okay, I'm gonna shift A, and that will add auto layout, and I'm just going to, and that will add auto layout to make all of them the same like distance between each other. So then I can make the distance between them 20, so they're closer to each other. Sorry if this is confusing. And then I'm going to right click and ungroup them. So now they're all separate again. And so I have this bar here, right? And now I am going to, so each of these bars, they're still connected to the main component. So I'm going to right click and detach the instance again. And then I'm going to Okay, it's fine. I'm going to just hide all of the original ones. And then I'm going to just place them into here when I see like the blue line. And then since I want them to be centered, I'm going to just click this. And then I want the top to be like, what did I do? 8? Maybe I'll do 8. So then I'm just going to do the same thing to all of them. Okay, I mean, I feel like just for the sake of time, I'm not actually going to do that, and I'm just going to copy this one, but you get the idea. And then you could also, so something
Alexa, stop.
Is to make this a component. So I'm just gonna create a component out of this, right? And I'm gonna name this tab, I'll name it navigation. Navigation/search, because search is highlighted in this, right? So, but then what if you want it to be in like home, right? So I'm gonna copy and paste another one, and I'm going to right click and detach it. And now I'm going to make, so this color is purple, so I'm just going to make it black. And then I'm going to take the home and make it purple. But actually, before I do that, so you know the thing that I mentioned about the main components and like everything attached to that will like propagate the changes. You can also do a similar thing with colors. So you see this color right here, it's not like, it just says the hex code, right? I'm gonna like click this button here, and I'm gonna add a plus by the styles, and I'm gonna say, okay, I don't have a better name for this. I'm just gonna say purple. And so now like anything that so if I add purple to like this, if I add purple to these colors here, and then if I go ahead and like change this purple color, like it would, you know, like it will change all of them. But I mean, I'm not going to change that. Okay. Okay. So then, but then these two are separate components, and I want to combine them. So I'm gonna, this is not even a component yet. I'm gonna right click and create a component. And so this is named navigation/search, right? But this is home. So I'm gonna rename it to navigation/home. Okay, and then now if I mean, you could do this for other ones too, but now when I combine them, it's just called navigation, and there's two versions called home and search. So, so if I was using this component in all of my designs, then I would just change it from search to home, and it would change, right? Okay, so I'm gonna copy this, and now I'm gonna put it at the bottom of my, I'm gonna use this to put at the bottom of my design. Okay, I'm gonna try to do this quickly. Maybe I will like not do the browse part. Okay, so let's do this part. Actually, I'm not going to, should I move the component? Okay. So yeah, okay, for the sake of time, I'm just gonna explain. So like basically these are tags. I kind of made them, I'll show you how I made them actually. So I'm gonna press the text and I'm gonna say hi, and then I'm gonna shift A, or you can also right click and click add auto layout. But I'm just gonna shift A, and then I'm adding a fill and also a radius, right? And now everything, also it probably would be better if you made it a component, but we don't have time. And now everything that you write, it will like grow with it. Oh, that's sad. I didn't mean to write that. Okay, but like everything you write will grow with it. So it's really useful. And then you can put it together in another frame. So like, okay, why does it say sad? I'll say like happy. And then, yeah, so if you have multiple of these, you can select them all and add auto layout again. So I'm gonna shift A, and now you see the spacing kind of evened out. So there's 18 pixels between each of them. I'm gonna change it to 24 because why not? And so now like when you write something else, it will like grow with it. And that's a lot easier than having, I don't know, like a rectangle and like some text because I don't know, it's not gonna grow with it. So yeah, I'm just gonna copy that over now. Okay, and then this, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna copy this too, but it pretty much uses the same auto layout things. Like as you can see, like with these different text layers, there's a frame and there's 14 pixels in between each one. So if I'm writing like something else, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's the same concept. And so, okay, so I actually made this by combining two things. This one is an auto layout frame, and then this one is just a rectangle. So I'm going to change this back. This, as you can see here, there's a regular fill and an image. So I want to show you a way to get images really quickly inside of Figma. So I'm just going to delete this now, and this is how it was before. By the way, okay, quick tip as well. If you notice that like the top up here is round, right? And these ones are not round, like they're 90 degrees because I want them to like connect and be like one big thing. It's because you can update the corners here and you can like change the radius of each one, if that makes sense, right? Okay, but anyways, so this one it just started off as a rectangle, and I'm going to use a different plugin called Unsplash. I wrote it down in the resources, so you can check it out later. But basically what this does is I can just search for any photo like that, and then it will just show up, right? And I can just change it too. And another thing is that like you can also do random. So if I want like a random picture of a person, like it will just show up. But I mean, I'm gonna go back to Lemonade. So yeah. So that's like pretty useful. And then you don't have to like, you know, Google pictures and then like copy and paste them into your designs, right? This part also, I don't know if we have time, but I'm gonna try anyways. I feel like, okay, these are pretty easy to make. So these are just frames. So you can put frames inside of frames, by the way. There's no like the frame that will show up in the prototype is just the largest frame that contains all of the frames, if that makes sense, right? Okay, so for these ones, I'm gonna try, like this is a good opportunity to make a component. So I'm gonna copy this here, and then, okay, so you notice how I used fruits? Okay, so I'm gonna copy all of the fruits from my emojis. I also put the emojis resource. Okay, that's enough fruits. Okay, so down here, and okay, so I'm gonna make these components, and then you can put components inside of components, but I'll show you in a second. Okay, so these are all size 160 right now, right? And I actually want them to be just 60. Okay, and then you see how the spacing is like this, so you can just use this to like make them closer together. This is really useful if you have like, I don't know, like things like list elements that you need to get aligned, and just, you know, get your spacing like that. And let's say like, okay, let's say one of them is like slightly off, right? If you like select it and hover over this button here, it will bring it back. But I mean, you might have to change some of the values. But anyways, that's pretty useful in design. Okay, so I'm going to, okay, I can't really see it because of the thing. Because of the zoom. Let me see if I can move it. Can I make my screen smaller? Okay, I'll move it back in a second. Okay, so I want to create multiple components. Also, oh wait, these are all named image. Okay, my bad. Okay, so I'm just going to use these as an example. I'm going to call this lemon and this orange, and you'll see what I'm doing in a second, and watermelon. And you can do this with more things if you like do the naming properly, but I did not remember that. So anyways, okay, I'm going to create multiple components, and now I'm going to combine them as variants, and I'm going to name this fruits. Okay, and then also you can rename this too. I'm going to say type of fruit. Okay, now I'm going to put this component inside of my card. Okay. So yeah, I'm using that trick again. Actually, yeah, we don't have time. I'm not going to make this a component. But okay, so as you can see, oh wait, I'm going to move this back. Okay, but yeah, if I have this inside of my design, right? And I have like, I don't know, like I have like, imagine I had like all these auto, oh, and I can use this and like, I could add auto layout, or I could just, you know, organize it and put 20 in between, right? But let's say if this was a component and I, you know, I could, you know, take the fruit and I could change it from a watermelon to an orange. And then I could also change that to a lemon, and you know what I mean? Okay, so you can use that to like, I mean, you can also use that for more practical purposes, I guess, if you wanted to change states of like something, like if you had an icon in a text input and like these were all icons, and then you wanted to, you know, change it from a search icon to a, I don't know, a smiley face icon. But okay, I hope that illustrated the use of using components inside of that. Anyways, but yeah, because of time, I want to get to prototyping soon, so I'm just going to copy this. Okay. So now I'm going to press Command and the, what? Let me type it. I don't, what kind of bracket is this? If I press Command and this thing at the same time, in Windows, it's Control, right? But anyways, okay. If I hold these two and press that at the same time, it sends it all the way back. Or I could just right click and say, send it back. But, oh, wait. Yeah, I should have just showed you that keyboard shortcut. But anyways, so we want this to scroll, right? So this one, we have to fix position when scrolling because you always want it to be at the bottom. And yeah, so I have it set to the bottom. And this is in the center. So like this is like the vertical alignment. So I always want this to be in the bottom. Like if it was in the center, then this thing would always be in the center when I'm scrolling, and that doesn't make sense, right? And another thing that I want to be at the top is the search bar and the status bar, right? So I'm going to select both of these. I'm holding Shift at the same time so I can select both of these, and I'm going to right click and say frame selection. So now these two are in a frame that I can also fix when scrolling, but you see how this is, it's like at the bottom, and I want there to be a little bit of room, right? So I'm just gonna drag it down a little bit. Okay, and then I also want the background to be white because, yeah, I want the background to be white. Okay, so I'm gonna fix it when scrolling, and then it's going to be in the center, and it's going to be at the top. So when it's scrolling, it's always going to stay at the top. Okay, and then, okay, so we also want this part to scroll horizontally, right? So I'm going to take this out for a second. Okay, so I don't know if you can tell, but this part here, I'm just gonna copy it separately, is the entire auto layout thing that I showed you guys before, right? But this is actually in a different frame, as you can see, like this extra frame. So I put another frame on it. I just like right click and frame selection, and I just like, I'm pressing Command, and I made that frame smaller. Okay, so the reason why I put it inside of a frame, another frame, is because when you want it to scroll horizontally, you basically need to set the width that it's scrolling in between. So like now this entire content will scroll in between this width of 327, right? And so that's why it's in a frame, okay, so now when I'm in the prototype mode, I'm going to say overflow scrolling, and I'm going to say vertical scrolling. And the reason why this works is because there's overflow of like things coming out. And then for this, I'm going to, oh, it's already set to horizontal scrolling. Okay, so let me move this stuff out of the way. So now if I start it, okay, actually, I'll show you after I add the other ones. Hello? Okay. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna add the other screens quickly. I think, should I just copy it? Okay, actually, yeah, I'll just copy it from, I'll just show you how I would do it in real life. So honestly, I would just copy and paste this, and then I would delete everything. And then, okay, so you know when you press search, it's usually like cancel, right? Well, Joey, the guy who made it, like he already put the variants in it. So all I have to do is, I'm on the search field and the type, turn it from default to cancel. Okay. And now, yeah, this is just text. So I'm just going to copy it. Another thing about text, yeah, I have time to go over this. Okay, so like I mentioned, like with the purple, right, you can like change the colors and then it will, if anything that any element that is using that color will propagate throughout everything. You can also do the same with text. So like, for example, this text here is, I think this text is the same as this one. So I'm just going to make it a style, text style, and I'm going to say this is body. So now everything here is body. And then if I'm like, you know, if I want to change body, if I want to make it not enter, I want to make it, okay, I can't really read that font, but you know what I mean? It changes on both, but I'm going to change it back. So yeah, that's another like kind of good habit to get into, because then, you know, you won't need to change your font or something. It's a lot easier. Okay, and then we're going to add the keyboard as well. I'm just going to copy it from here, and then, yeah, another thing about the keyboard is, yeah, it's also set up like this. So the keyboard is already set to fixed position when scrolling, because I also want the keyboard to stay at the bottom. I'm going to put it in the bottom. Okay, and then now to kind of prototype it. So you want this screen to come up when you click the search bar, right? So I'm going to select the search bar and I'm going to draw an arrow or like drag it to this screen. And then, so like there's a lot of kind of different animations, which is really nice. And honestly, I think my best advice for using animations is just to kind of play with it and like see what it looks like in prototype mode to see which one looks the best. But if you're in like in a rush, I think the best ones is usually dissolve. Like I think that just looks the best, like without really thinking about it. Honestly, I'm just gonna copy what I have here because I don't remember. Oh, use Smart Animate. Okay, so Smart Animate is also really good because what Smart Animate will do is that it notices it takes the difference. Okay, it like looks at these two screens, right? And it will, everything that's already the same in these two screens will stay the exact same, so they won't move at all. And then and then it will animate all of the new stuff for you. So all of the changes, but everything that's the same, like these bars and stuff, that will like, yeah, stay the same. So anyways, I'm gonna do on tap Smart Animate. So basically I'm saying like when the user taps this, I want it to animate to this screen. And okay, you might be wondering like, why didn't I just put the keyboard in this screen? Well, that's because, like when you're typing, the keyboard like swipes up. So I want the keyboard to have that like up animation. So like right after this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this whole screen and you can move the whole screen to like draw an arrow from the whole screen too. It doesn't have to be like from a specific element. If I just did it like this and left it on tap, that means that anywhere that someone clicks on the screen, it will go to the next one. But I don't want it to be on tap. I want it to kind of be like an actual thing. So I'm going to do after delay. I don't remember what delay I put. 100 milliseconds. Okay, and move up. Okay, and then the reason why I wanted to move in and then I want the direction to be up is because I wanted the keyboard to come up, right? And then the matching layers is like what's going to be the same. So that's just going to smart animate. And then for fun, let's just make the cancel go back here, and I'll just dissolve. And also, I mean, if you had more time, you could probably make the, like, this is not really a big area to tap. So if someone accidentally taps here, like they might not get it. So actually, like, something that is probably better to do that I won't do right now is that you could actually make like a rectangle, like a bigger rectangle, and then put it on top, and then change the rectangle opacity to 0 so no one can see it. But then make that rectangle have the prototype link to back to this screen so that people have a greater area to tap, and then it's more likely that it will go back. But, and then, yeah, this would be on that screen, but I'm not gonna do that right now. Anyways, okay. So, okay, I think I have enough time. So I'm gonna move. So, okay, yeah, this blue arrow is like where the prototype starts. So like you can like move it around. I don't know if you're like experimenting somewhere. Also, so I have it set, you can change the device based on like whatever device that you used. And then the model, I'm gonna leave it at silver. You can also change the background color. I mean, I'm not gonna do that, but actually maybe I will for fun. Let's use this color. And the nice thing about changing the background color too is like if okay, so I'm gonna click this this play button to go back here, right? The nice thing about having this background is that like if you are really in a rush and you wanted to like, I don't know, have a nice dev post cover, you don't have to put it in a mockup because it's in a nice background. So then you could just, I don't know, like take a screenshot and crop it and put it in your dev post, right? So anyways, so does this work? Yeah, so the scrolling, sometimes things don't always work, right? I might have forgotten to do something, but yeah, so as you can see, there's this scrolling here and this stays fixed, and this scrolling here also works. Does the animation work? I clicked search, and yeah, the thing came up, and I'm gonna press cancel, and it goes back. So okay, yeah, it worked. Another thing, okay, really small thing, but like if you don't want this bar to show up when you're doing in your presentation, you can like unclick show Figma UI. And then, you know, it'll be gone. And if I go up here, it doesn't. So I don't know, if you're taking screen recording, it might be nicer. Okay, but I just brought it back. Okay, so what else was I gonna do? Oh yeah, if you want nice mock-ups, they're like, I don't know, like I mentioned for your dev post, you can take something. Okay, so there's a lot of different mock-ups. Like if you're going to like Figma community, did I show you guys Figma community? Oh, I kind of did when we were looking for plugins, but if you look up like mockup, there's like a bunch, and also like plugins, you know, so you can make it look nice. But I'm just gonna I'm gonna use one of these plugins just to show you guys. That's huge. Oh wait, that's a pro. It's the wrong one. Let me do a different one. This one? iPhone X? Yeah. Okay. So I want to render this frame. So I'm going to select this frame and then click render selected frame. Oh, it's not compatible? What happened? Does it work if I do this? Oh, I know. Okay, so basically I'm going to, I don't know why. So when I clicked the iPhone, it like generated this thing, right? So what I'm going to do is these are the same size. So I'm just going to select something in this frame, and I'm going to Command A, which is selecting all, and I'm just going to copy it and paste it in here. And now let's see if that works. Okay, cool, it works. So now I have this like mock-up here, and I don't know why it's, oh, it's because of the shadow. Okay, cool. So yeah, now I have this mock-up here, and I could do that with other ones, but I don't know, because of time, I won't. But I'm gonna go back to the frame, and then I don't know what size you use, but let's just make it presentation slide color, right? And then I'm gonna make the background color purple. And then you could always put this inside. And okay, so here's another tip. I mean, the size is like really off, right? You could change the outside frame size and just do this. But another thing you could also do is, so I'm gonna select this and click scale. And if I just like scale it, then it'll just be exact. Because sometimes like, yeah, things will be off if you like try to do it other ways. So yeah, I'm gonna press scale. We'll go back to move. And then, I don't know, you could have some text here that says like, this is my project. I mean, that's probably not the text that you want, but you know what I mean. Yeah, right? So, okay, let's call it something better. Lemonade. Also, I don't like this color, so I'm just gonna quickly change it. But yeah, so yeah, you get the idea of like mockups and stuff. And then one last tip is that, okay, if you see all of these things that are like iPhone 11 Pro, iPhone, you might want to change the name, right? So, I mean, you could go here and change it, but that would take a really long time. So one thing that you can do is, oh, that's the wrong one. Okay, so you can select as many as you want, as many frames as you want. And I'm gonna press Command R on Mac. It's probably Control R on PC. And then you can rename all the layers. So now I'm going to rename this to search. And then I'm going to add a number. Honestly, I don't know if it's going up or down, but you can type. Okay, yeah, that was the wrong way. But yeah, you can add numbers and you can rename things really quickly like that. So yeah, I think I covered everything that I wanted to. I hope that, okay, please let me know if you have any other questions, or I don't know if I was going too fast or not, but yeah, I mean, you can also access this this file, and also like feel free to ping me if you have any questions, although there's also other mentors that might respond faster than me. But yeah, there's also like other resources that I put here. And then, oh yeah, I put this missing fonts thing here. Yeah, so like, I don't know if you have, I should have mentioned this, but for iOS, like they use like that like system font, right? Like San Francisco in all of these, like in the text here. And sometimes it doesn't come installed, like depending on what computer you're on. Like if you're on a Mac, and I don't know if it's already installed. Okay, but anyways, here's the link to install them. If you can't install them, I honestly don't know if PCs can install them or not. So I would recommend like changing the font to Inter. Like it's just a font called Inter. Like it's probably on your computer, and it's just like really similar to, it's really similar to San Francisco. So like you can't really tell a difference. So yeah, and then how you would do that is like, basically if you see the missing, like I don't have it because I don't have any missing fonts, but if you see that thing in the side, then that's how you can change all of the fonts. So yeah, to recap, yeah, these are all of the resources that we use today. And then if you are not doing iOS design, then I put some other resources for, like web and Android. And then for learning, yeah, there's a lot of playlists on Figma's YouTube channel, which are pretty good. And then, yeah, I didn't really go over this, but like getting inspiration from existing apps and websites in general, that's kind of how I like notice like what similar types of animations to put in and like stuff. And like you can see, like here's all these like search pages, right? That's kind of how I got the inspiration to make this search page. I'm like, let's just put in a card and some, I mean, that's not the best way to do it, but it's just for Figma example, right? Like browsing stuff like Spotify and some tags and stuff, which is like kind of a fast way to get inspiration, especially if you're like in a hackathon. So yeah, so those are my resources to get inspiration from other places. Page flows is mainly, okay, yeah, I'm almost done. Page flows, they're all mainly mobile, but Page flows has website as well. And then check out FigJam for group brainstorming. And then if you want to add some GIFs and animations, there is Lottie, and you guys can Google it. I probably won't have time to talk about everything else, but yeah. Oh, you need to install SF. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, the link to install it is there. And I think that's all. I really hope that was helpful. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. But yeah, thanks for coming. I really appreciate it. And hope that you guys have a very good time at the hackathon and that you can make useful designs. Yeah.
Thank you, Christina.
Thanks. I'm glad it was helpful. I'm like reading the chat now. Okay, cool. Do you guys have another workshop after this?
Yeah, we have a Postman API workshop, but we're gonna end this meeting first. So if you want to attend that, you can join back later so our recording can process.
Okay, sounds good.